from other sources?
I mean, the
What did
farmers,
it actually cost us last year? Wasn't,
I don't have that number for you right now,
It
but I
was
can get it for you
low
pretty
because
easily.
of the water.
Well, I also
Remember?
didn't, well,
2 months
yeah,
ago.
but the
That may
reason
be
I
why
didn't
it
water
was
was
low,
once you
because-
get over 93 degrees, there's some issues that we have to decide how we want to do this. Once you're over 90 degrees, you do not want to water grass in the heat of the day because you're cooking the roots.
Right.
The problem is our staff is only here during the day. So I was paying like kids to water at night.
Yeah.
So I was trying to sneak by that way. Where our sprinkler system's not automatic. It requires it requires
There's your
people.
problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know there's your problem, but
So let me stick a pin in this and say that since we brought this up, as Judy mentioned it, as
the
a
long-term
resident,
solution is to have a manual city sprinkler system. An automatic city sprinkler system on each building. Still leverage the farmer's ditch. Use it when you have the water, and when you don't, you just hit a button or subsidize both. Where if you get into these brutally hot summers,
You would be plugging this automated city-based thing into the same system.
no, it would not be in the same.
It'd
It
have
would
to
be
be
a
separate.
completely
Separate.
parallel, separate system.
okay, and that may be something that we can't do yet.
You might want to have an engineer.
Is there a reason to make it parallel rather than just,
The city
doesn't
doesn't
want
want you to take tap water and mix it with groundwater, and farmer's ditch is groundwater.
okay,
They'll let you do it, but it's extremely expensive.
because you have to have all these backup valves.
That's correct.
I know this came up in.
Right. And the other problem is the current cistern is off the property,
Yeah, because it's a threat.
on
to
the other
city.
side of the
across the
city
road.
street.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so can I raise another issue that Jen and I
Please.
were talking about? I think it's kind of, since the number's very large, I'm kind of wondering. We have this maintenance salary listed under personnel expenses, and it's the largest expense in the list. And I'm trying to divide all these numbers from 2011, 2012, and now 2013, and subtracting out the people that are mentioned elsewhere, and I'm not coming up with a good idea of who the hell these people are. Who's being paid this much money? Is that everybody but the accountant, or the bookkeeper, the night staff, and you?
It's the 2 grounds, well, right now, it's just 2 grounds guys and 1 maintenance guy. That's why we're 38,000 under it. 'Cause we,
Under budget.
yeah, because I,
Yeah, give
And
that,
are we
give
plan-
that to Jason.
Oh, he loves this one.
Right, well, yeah, oh, right, well, but, wait a minute, where's the, so that was the budget, here's the actual. Okay, right. So let's take it as actual, if it's 3 people, that's still,
I'm always
that's,
fine,
Well, in our
what is that, 35,000 a year? For each of those 3
the actual
people?
from 2010,
114, that's close to
Just
40,
find out how much it makes per hour.
37,
this divided by 3
I
is
think that's what we're trying to
43,000
figure
a
out.
person.
right.
well, is that including unemployment and insurance and stuff? Yeah.
No,
Sure.
isn't the
No.
unemployment and the insurances,
Those are listed
the health
elsewhere.
insurance, the insurance, workers' comp, the FUTA, the state unemployment, the FICA, and the
That's
Medicare?
everything.
Right.
So
No,
that's
this-
straight
this
salary,
is just straight
take home.
salary.
Well, that's not what we're spending right now.
Well, that was based on how many people, that was Mike and how many other people, 3 other people, we had 4 people and
Yeah,
a
when
couple of
when
them
I
maybe
got here,
more.
they had 2 fully employed maintenance and, no?
Oh, I see the problem.
You hired. When
Yeah,
you
we
got
don't-
here,
we
you
don't have
hired
actual.
Jose
We only
So,
have
right.
and
12.
Alan and all those
Right.
people.
Right.
So it was only
Right.
Mike when you started. It
Right.
was
Right, but
Mike,
that, we were short one.
Mariano.
It sounds like
I-
No, when I
asked.
moved here
They
2 years
don't
ago,
have
It
to
was
wait.
Josh
But
and
that was,
Mike.
that's not this budget. That was a long time ago. This, when you started in 2012,
Yeah.
it was
that was my
budgeted.
goal, is
How
that
do
the
we
other
see-
one.
Leave for the next year if we can't do that.
Yeah.
No, there was
We have
only
to
1
have
maintenance
this
guy when I started,
format
that's correct.
actuals.
Okay.
But I went back to the
You
model
guys?
that we
Sorry.
usually have.
Try.
Right.
So, the answer is that we don't have this year's actual.
In
Or
this
last
format.
year's actual in the format on this sheet. So that's why the numbers are so high. They're much lower in fact. But we're gonna need to see exactly what these numbers are if we can make a reasonable. Because we know that we are understaffed, presuming that we were to
Sure.
continue with on-site staff, in the way, and in all the areas we're currently, you know, doing, then we can't possibly be.
Well, Moses is 18 an hour,
Yeah,
but he
well, I
does get
understand.
medical.
Well,
and then Agapito's like $12 an hour.
Why don't we
But
get
the
the actual?
medical-
we don't, yeah,
Okay.
let's just get
It doesn't
the
make
actual,
Okay.
because what we want to do is figure out how, I mean, 130 sounds great if, and kind of consistent with what we haven't been getting by way of groundskeeping, if you were
Sure.
to hire
And if
the
this means
people
we need
you
to hire
to-
3 more people, that's cool, but
Right, and if that's what the size of the number reflects, then I would be willing to live with the 130. But I'd want to see what it was last year, because I certainly want whatever we're doing in personnel, if we're doing it, to be higher than whatever we paid last year, because we weren't getting it.
If 38,000 means the difference between people coming to us and complaining and not,
Oh, yeah.
it's simple.
Well, I think whether we go with offsite management or not, we have to fix this problem. So this budget better reflect a plan to deal with the horrible state of the grounds, which is partly a drought, but it's also part, it was sort of wise fiscal care and sort of, what do they call it, benign neglect?
Absolutely, totally responsible for benignly. I will take full responsibility.
Well, I knew you.
It was
we
a
knew you were
hot
doing it.
summer, and
We knew you were doing
and
it.
we had a lot of issues that we were
Yeah.
fighting day in and day out.
but
Yeah.
the shrub issue we are going to want to tackle. So, I mean, that's not going to go away. What to do with the current state of the shrubs, and what do you want to do with them?
Can you bring numbers next time?
Well, figure 150 a shrub, and that's probably too cheap if we replaced it.
What kind of shrubs are there? Can I ask? I'm sorry.
Well, there's lilacs and, you know.
What's the shrub count?
So if you buy them at the end of the year when it's $5
I have to.
out at the
I'm
tree
looking at your
farm.
show right now.
Yeah.
I think 150 a shrub is probably pretty fair.
Do you know
Okay,
how many
so
I'm
shrubs
gonna
we're
put a
doing?
note in the notes that we cannot
I
actually
would say 8 of
do a
them.
2013
Let's
budget.
do a
Where
let's
did
go
you shop,
with
Bernie?
Sarah's cake.
Yeah. And so we have
Yes,
several
it's
items
more,
here that have to be researched further. The subcommittee is
Economical
gonna work on
funds.
that.
Budget.
I would recommend that you guys give us an updated version by email.
Right, and the line
But
items and
when
issues are the
when you've cleared up all
salaries.
these questions that you have and put it into a form that we can, us ordinary, you know,
When Barney sent this out, originally, I think you're the one that sent the first draft out, I replied to him that I was working on 3 other organizations and I just didn't have time.
No,
And
I understand, yeah.
I haven't
I
worked
saw
on
that.
Oh,
it.
we got the ball rolling, it's just
So
a start.
that's good.
So,
And I can
uh,
go through and break the condensed numbers out.
that would
And
be
in
great.
fact, we have it for 2012 in the old format too, so that's fine. I'll go through and work on it the next day or 2.
So did you see any others, I mean, Jenny, that you were?
The security service,
Yeah,
based on our current, we're gonna be at $6,706 and we've only budgeted 2,392. So that one probably needs amped up a little bit.
wait, hold on. Well, our historical has always been in the 2000s.
Or what was it that you?
Well,
Jen?
fire and security year to date that we just approved, or just looked at is 5,589.
Well, don't include fire.
Well, I don't know what this one,
Security is just the guys that come around at
Oh, so
night and
What is
check.
fire then?
Let's not do fire with the same thing. That's a whole different thing. So
What
Security-
is, what
Let's
is
just do-
fire?
Can-
What
well,
is fire?
fire is inspecting our fire systems.
Can we?
based on what I did, which was take all of these and hit them against every one of these accounts to try and figure out what goes with what.
Mm-hmm.
Fire and security is listed here as an and, but it is only one account, and that is 5242, which is this
Security
5242
service.
security
So,
service.
will this actually
I mean,
be?
it was
Okay,
just
fine.
one-
Okay, now I understand. I thought you were saying that was the amount.
Jason,
No.
will this
Okay,
actually
account
be
number.
fruitful
Alright,
to
so-
continue
This
to
is our-
discuss this
gonna be
without
our
the
actual-
budget?
Why don't you say
Continue.
that? Look, see, it's always been, look,
I'm
18.
sorry,
But
say it again.
look,
Is this fruitful?
this is what we have to go
Is what
on.
I'm asking.
Actually,
Until we have-
I think we have to.
Yeah.
5,589.
So we
The cons of the fire stuff.
No, I'm
No,
just, I
it
mean,
isn't.
it's
I
the
hit
budget,
every
we leave
single one of
everything
these
to discuss,
against our
but I don't
budget.
think,
We have to
even
find
regardless of time,
I have to go.
I
Yeah.
don't think this would be fruitful to
So
discuss.
you need
I don't
to,
think-
you just need to
No,
keep
I
doing
agree.
this.
We
So
don't-
you,
Obviously, there are
you-
problems
this is
with the
homework for me.
presentation.
You
Lynn
need
has
to
already
find out what
indicated
this
she hasn't
fire
had a
is
chance to
doing.
look at it.
Yes,
So-
yes.
Jenny's already
but the
found
security
problems.
service is gonna still
So
be
you
that
guys-
program.
You, so, Tyler made a very good point, which is that at this point, there are enough outstanding uncertainties that it would be fruitless for us. All we're gonna contribute is additional confusion.
Well, I have
uncertainty,
one
and
thing that I'd
uncertainty.
like to get here tonight, which is what kind of number would you like to see set aside as a reserve?
I
Well,
think
that's
you,
the
I
bottom
think,
line, we
no,
have to see
that's the
where we
bottom.
come out.
I don't wanna answer
Don't
that
steer
question
that,
until
okay.
I see, you know,
Okay,
answers to all these questions we've raised, right?
What's
I mean,
possible.
does that make sense?
okay,
So let's suspend for the moment.
okay.
I do have one suggestion for the process, I agree with suspending it. Look at the budgets of Arborwood, and as the proposals come in, they will probably have sample statements from other HOAs, and try to make the categories line up with what they've been using. Because, you know, I've tried to look at this stuff too, and I just find it very difficult because things are,
Jumbled.
jumbled together. So if you could use what they're using, what the model that we're maybe moving toward, that will help ease the transition. And work with it.
I also had a thought, and I did not take action, but with this capital expenditures fund that's in this budget sitting at 100,000, what are the ideas or what are the priorities that we have and or the community may have to see get done this next year? Or that's an awesome idea, but we want to do it in 2014 so that we can kind of get monies together for that. I know we've talked several times, it's on our budget or on our agenda tonight for the smokers area. Is that something that we put in as a capital expenditure? Painting hallways, carpets, railings, you know, those kinds of things. I guess maybe just if you have those ideas, obviously they're only ideas. Nothing brought up would be approved, but things that we can do to make those improvements.
Alright, well,
She's
so
talking about
the two that I
Smoking
sent to Jenny
strips,
were,
probably.
the railings on the security buildings are really bad.
Yes, they are.
So I would like to see us do them in 2013.
Yeah, and get maybe as close as we can to
When
real
I
numbers.
did ours, it wasn't a whole lot expensive, was it?
But a lot of that wood is still rotting on the ones right outside my building. That railing is
Yeah,
still
and
in
the
real bad
other
shape.
problem is
talking
that there's
upstairs?
a water issue, where the water drips down from one deck to the next and it's running the concrete.
It keeps going down.
Right, so, there is a really amazing gutter system on 3315 top floor deck on the west side of the building. I have a picture I sent some of you guys. And we may
Are
want,
these which railings are these? The ones in the.
They're the
square?
sides of
Fits
it.
in between.
the elevator buildings have fire escapes on both sides of them,
Right,
and they have their own structure stairwell.
right.
And there's railings where there's an exposed portion where you exit the door before you get to the stairwell.
So it's
And-
like those horrible ones on the building.
Yeah, they're really-
Rest
The
of
ones
them
that
look
you-
at me,
yeah,
the
right.
ones you
They
look
look
at.
like-
Yeah.
like you wouldn't wanna leave
They
them
look
outside.
Right, they
Yes.
look terrible, they look terrible. There's a water issue.
issue.
They're exposed, so they get outside water, they get ice. So it's not just replacing the wood. I'd like to solve the water issue.
Well, and that's actually, I mean, you know, what Judy raised is, it's a well-known problem that this campus was designed in ways that actually don't provide for the kind of water removal that is necessary to avoid continual damage, particularly to balconies and
Foundations.
foundations at the bottom of the
But we've
wall.
already
And-
done it. We've already fixed things. We did it at 65. We spent
Some,
$8,000.
but not everything.
Yeah,
And
well,
it
we
was-
still have things to do.
No, we have tons
We
to
still
do.
have to put in the.
But I'd rather,
the
I'd
heat tape
rather
so that
do a
those
really
things
good
don't
job.
freeze.
I've got
No,
a
no.
scary walkway. But
Yeah, you have a scary walkway. It's,
Well-
it's the same walkway that he and I walked your walkway.
Yeah.
I was thinking 3240 on the other side, on the east side. So
Yeah, we were, Matt and I were there the other day. It's
Is that
bad.
you said the east side?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's bad.
yeah. Well, and there's a problem with the water leaking onto the base stairs,
That's
and
right.
whenever it freezes, you
That's
don't
right.
take that stairway
Right.
because you will
Oh, yeah.
fall, and there's no railing.
Take
So
it
a
out
gutter
there,
system
anything.
on the top, on the roof, a gutter system on each deck.
Yeah.
It takes the water and wicks it away.
Well, look, since one of the things you mentioned was the smokers area, that would be one of the things that would get under the, be included maybe.
What all
in
what all are we doing for a smokers area? What do you envision?
Well, the
Putting them in
proposal,
the
that,
field
this
across
was a
the street.
proposal. Was it Jackie's idea?
No.
Scott?
No.
All I'm starting
No, no,
with
it was
is an
Judy.
ashtray
Judy.
that's gonna go on the building, and we're gonna see where it,
Yeah.
we're gonna